Hey everyone, I'm John Kazarian, founder and CEO of Excel Events. We're an event management platform built to make life easier for you. Now, historically, email has been the number one channel for event marketing. But as of February 1st, there's been a lot of changes to how email is being distributed and what's being deemed spam by Google, Yahoo, and soon to be some others. What we're going to talk about right now is everything that you need to know in order to make sure that email marketing continues to be a major channel for you to get word out about your events and drive registration. I'm going to break it into four pieces, first of which is what's changing. Then we're going to cover why these rules came into place. Next, we'll talk about what you can actually do about it. And I'll wrap up by talking about what happens if you end up in email jail. So to start, the policy that's coming in or has come into place as of February 1st is applied only to what's deemed a bulk sender. But unfortunately, once you get classified as a bulk sender, you're a bulk sender for life. And to fall into that category, all you have to do is send at least 5,000 emails in a 24-hour period. So if you've ever sent a blast, you're in that category. And this is going to apply to your domain. So it's not necessarily applying to an individual event, but if you're sending email for an event from your company domain or a dedicated URL for that event, once you hit that bulk sender policy, it's there for life. So now that you're a bulk sender, what do you have to watch out for? Well, if you get 3 out of 1,000 emails marked as spam, this doesn't mean they went to the junk folder. It means that somebody went and clicked and said, this email is spam. I don't want to receive that email. Now you're flagged. And that's going to hurt your deliverability. And it's going to get progressively worse over the next couple of months. But you can get out of jail, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, these rules, the 3 and 1,000, it's not like, okay, 1,000 emails have gone by. Let's look at the last 3. It's going to look at this bulk of email that you sent in a 24-hour window. The other thing to keep in mind is these new rules, they actually only apply to emails being sent to @Gmail or @Yahoo addresses. So it's not going to apply if you're sending emails to other corporations, other business accounts, even if they're using Google Workspaces. So for now, we're in the clear there. A couple of other things that are coming along with this. So there's a number of requirements to make sure that your emails are getting delivered around authentication. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. There's also requirements around unsubscribe links that you have to have in your emails. And these aren't going to be fully in effect until June 1st. But if you don't have the right unsubscribes by June 1st, you're going to be in trouble and your emails are not going to be getting into people's inboxes. So that's what's happening. This is what you need to watch out for. But why is Google making this change? Well, I think we've all seen, especially over the past 12 months or so, how many more emails we're getting. All of these AI tools that are making it easier and faster for SDRs and sales reps to flood our inboxes. That's one portion of it. But the reality is I actually don't think Google's out to get those people as much as they are to prevent the actual spam that's occurring. The phishing attacks, the email spoofing, where somebody is intentionally sending bad email and trying to do so from your domain just to get into inboxes or trying to steal information. And a lot of these rules and the requirements around these rules are there to actually prevent those emails from getting delivered. So we actually kind of win from this, right? A less cluttered inbox means that there's a higher likelihood of your real email that you put a lot of thought and intention behind ending up in front of somebody and their eyeballs so that we can get them to register for your event or communicate mission critical information. And by the way, these changes, they're applying to marketing emails, not transactional emails. So something like an order confirmation or a receipt, you're in the clear on those emails, but there are some ways you can get in trouble with those emails, and I'll hit on that in a moment as well. All right, so we've covered what's changing. We've covered why Google's making these changes. Now let's talk about what you can do about it. So the first thing you need to do is a little bit technical. You need to work with whoever's responsible for email delivery at your company. Might be whoever's responsible for controlling your website and the domain name server configuration. And you want to work with your email marketing providers and your event management platforms to get the following items configured. And there's 3 elements to this. The first of which is a DKIM record. Now, you don't need to know all these acronyms. We've written quite a bit about this. If you want more information, ping me on LinkedIn and I'll get you the article so you have the right questions to ask. But the first of which is the DKIM record. You can kind of think about this as a proof that this email hasn't been tampered with yet. If you go back like 200 years, you remember, you've seen in movies where they'll like pour some red wax over an envelope and put a stamp on it. And that tells the recipient that nobody's opened this email yet. Well, the DKIM record does essentially the same thing. Another record that you need to configure is an SPF record. Now, these SPF records, they're kind of like checking your license or ID to make sure that the person sending that email is actually who they say they are. Now, the final one that needs to be configured is the DMARC policy. And this is basically the instructions or the rules for that email that tells the inbox that's receiving that email what to do. And it tells it, do I need to check for an SPF record? Do I need to check for a DKIM record? And based on this new rule from Google, you have to have that DMARC policy configured. And the DMARC policy is basically there to make sure that we're checking that these other policies have been configured so we don't get the spamming and the spoofing flooding our inboxes. All right, so that's the technical side of things. You kind of set that up once and you forget about it, but you do need to make sure it's configured everywhere you're sending email from. So if you're using HubSpot or MailChimp or Marketo to send email, that's spot number one. The second is any email that you're sending from your event management platform. You also want to work with the rest of the email marketing team at the company to make sure that you're coordinating when you send out emails. If you're sending multiple emails in the same day, especially promotional email, you're more likely to have those recipients flagging those as spam, and now you're more at risk. Another thing that you can watch out for is making sure that you're sending emails from a domain that's already been warmed up. You've already sent a lot of emails from that domain before. Once you've done that, you've basically reduced the percentage of the emails that are coming from your marketing or event activity compared to the total number of emails you're sending. So that percentage, that 3 out of every 1,000, is going to be lower. Now, there's a couple of best practices related to email delivery that I'm sure you're already familiar with. Things like no surprise links in emails, subject lines that are actually accurate and not misleading. Don't mix promotional content with transactional emails, right? Because then those transactional emails are going to get looked at as marketing emails. The from address should be consistent and relevant. Are you sending a marketing email or an order confirmation email? It should come from orders at or marketing at or a person's name. And of course, just don't spam people, right? Like that's just your reputation. So be good about that. Now, the other big thing you need to watch out for is that there is a unsubscribe header in the email. You've probably seen in Gmail before where there's a little button at the top of an email. You can click that to unsubscribe. That has to be in every marketing email that goes out to an @Gmail address by June 1st. If it doesn't, that email is not going to get delivered. Make sure that you have that configured with your event management platform. And you want to make sure that unsubscribe only unsubscribes them from the one event that you're sending emails from, because you don't want to lose them from all of the emails that you send out. This rule allows you to make it list specific. So it can be restricted to just that one email, but it has to be a one-click unsubscribe. So it can't go to a page where they select which events they want to unsubscribe from. It has to happen with one click. Now, we've covered what you need to do about this. Let's just wrap up with what happens if you get caught. If you get flagged for spamming, you're going to go into email jail. In order to get out, you have to have 7 days where you have less than 3 in 1,000 emails getting flagged as spam. Okay, well, how do you do that if your emails aren't even getting delivered? Well, you can cut back on your email sending. You can make sure that you're sending very targeted emails. And then once you've gotten that rate reduced and 7 days have elapsed, then you can submit a request to Google or Yahoo for them to manually evaluate your account and make sure that you're a legit sender. You don't want to be in this boat, especially leading up to an event. You want to make sure that your emails are getting delivered, take best practices into consideration, and make sure that you have a backup plan for getting mission critical emails in people's inboxes like magic links, password resets, order confirmations, tickets, anything else that's going to be critical for them to get in the door at your event. Again, I'm John Kazarian, CEO of Excel Events. Find me on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Thanks, everybody.